Okay, so I had, it's funny, I'm not a traveler. I'm not a traveler like at all. I like traveling, but I hardly ever do it. And yet, all of a sudden, we're doing all of these videos about me taking all these trips to various places, and it's quite unlike me. So anyway, I had an opportunity to go to Paris with my wife, and which I think is kind of crazy because of course I haven't been there for 30 years. But there was a Mark Rothko exhibition that a friend of ours told us about, and we managed to find a few days in late February, early March to jump on the plane and leave the kids and the dog behind, all of whom survived. And so we just went for a few days, which was fun. And in fact, actually, there's a direct flight between Vancouver and Charles de Gaulle, which made it actually really easy. So anyway, so I went to Paris, and I brought one camera and one lens, but this is all I brought. I mean, I brought that, but usually when I travel, my previous one camera, one lens challenges have been with the Fuji X100 in Cuba, the X Pro 2 in Russia, the X Pro 2 in, where else did I go? Portugal. I also went to New Mexico where I brought the X Pro 3 actually, strangely, but pretty much the same camera. But we're all digital. And so this was the first time actually since the last time I was in Paris, I brought a film camera, and I brought film. I brought 5 rolls each. I don't have any Delta 100 here, I shot it all. 5 rolls each of Tri-X, 160 Portra, and 400 Portra. And I learned a few things, and I had a lot of fun. The first thing, though, that I learned, as we referenced in an earlier video, is that I know this for certain, and I'm not sure about the other films, this and the new CT scanners at airports do not play well together. And had a bunch of images, a couple of rolls of, actually I shot 2 rolls of Tri-X, both of them were to a greater or a lesser extent fogged because of the CT scans. So anyway, Rolleiflex, super fun to shoot. Paris, super fun to shoot. Film, fun to shoot, as long as you're not fogging it in the airport. And what I found actually wandering around with the Rolleiflex is that basically the main thing that I was always worried about, and why I always brought a digital camera, was that I was always concerned that on some level there would be a photograph that I wouldn't be able to take, or that I would miss because I was somehow limited by the fact that this has film in it. And I've actually learned that you do miss photos, but you miss the marginal ones. If it's something that's good enough to shoot, it's good enough to shoot, film or digital. And so that was nice to have that sort of set aside. And it was also kind of fun because there were some other obnoxious hipster photographers, such as myself, wandering around with film cameras, and it's nice to give a little nod to somebody with a K1000 or a Nikon F2 or something like that. Wandering through the streets of Paris. Paris in February is great because it's not too busy. Drawback is that you totally stick out even more like a tourist than you would previously. But we, what can I say? We wandered around. We went to Montmartre. We went to the Rothko exhibition. We went to the Musée d'Orsay. We went to the Louvre, and we just kind of had some fun. It was I went to the Avedon show at the Gagosian, which was great. I was really glad that we could, it was luck that we managed to it was on when we were there. With the obvious exception of the safety of traveling with film through airports. And we'll do a video on that. I've been actually reading up on what you can and can't do and what to expect when you go through airports. So that's forthcoming. But talking about the Rolleiflex and shooting in Paris, one of the things about this camera is that it is so imperfect that you have to actually reconcile yourself to the fact that it's going to be imperfect. My eyes are not very good. Focusing with this is kind of hard. I don't have a split image screen in here, which I'm going to actually buy one, I think. So some of the shots were a little soft when it comes to focus, but I don't know, like somehow I feel like I forgive myself more when I'm shooting with this camera than I do when I'm shooting with digital. And everything doesn't have to be perfect. And in fact, it's to be celebrated. I mean, really, I think that the notion of comparing this to a digital camera in any form is really a bit of a fool's errand. I mean, you don't do this because at least let me rephrase that, I don't do it because I want to take photos like I would with a digital camera. I do it because I want to shoot on film. And the Rolleiflex is, as far as I'm concerned, with the possible exception of a Hasselblad, the perfect travel camera. And I'm looking forward to shooting more with it as long as I can figure out how to make sure that when the film comes back with me, it's roughly in the same shape as it was when it left. So the Rolleiflex and Paris, great combination. Cannot recommend it highly enough. So grab one. I know they're outrageously expensive, especially the 2.8s. Oh, okay, here we go. Little trick. You don't need the 2.8. The 3.5 is fine. It's a half a stop slower. Yes, I know, but it's like half the cost. So I recommend a 3.5F, just like this one. And I recommend a trip to Paris for a few days. And I recommend a bunch of film. Slower is better. And give it a shot.